They say time heals everything, but what if time only teaches you how to hide the pain? Pause. Rain intensifies slightly. For 10 years, she waited by the same window in the same small apartment overlooking the city that never remembered her name. Every night, the same streetlight flickered outside, a silent reminder of the promise he made. "I'll come back for you, Anna, no matter what." Those were the last words Daniel said before he disappeared. Anna was 23 then, a dreamer with ink-stained fingers and eyes that believed in forever. Daniel was everything she wasn't: spontaneous, brave, always chasing something unseen. They met in college, fell in love under streetlights and unfinished essays, and built a world out of late-night phone calls and morning coffee kisses. But one day he was gone, no goodbye, no message, just a silence. At first, she thought something had happened, maybe an accident, maybe a mistake. She called, she wrote, she waited. Days turned into weeks, weeks into years. People told her to move on. But love, real love, doesn't move on. It roots itself in your bones. And for Anna, Daniel wasn't just a memory. He was a heartbeat she couldn't unlearn. Soft sigh. A page turns, the sound of her writing in a journal. Anna, day 748. I saw someone today who looked like you. He had the same smile, the same way of walking fast like he was late for something important. For a second, I almost called out your name, but then I remembered you're gone, and maybe you were never coming back. Life moved forward cruelly, unapologetically. Her friends married, changed jobs, moved cities. Anna stayed. She worked at a bookstore, a quiet corner place that smelled like old pages and untold stories. Every customer, every stranger who walked in, she watched their eyes, hoping, praying, maybe it's him. But it never was, and yet she never stopped writing him letters, hundreds of them, folded neatly, tied with a ribbon, tucked away in an old wooden box by her bed. Letters she would never send, because she had no address. Anna, dear Daniel, it's been 5 years now. I still wear the scarf you gave me, the one you said looked better on you. I still make coffee the way you liked it, 2 sugars, 1 lie. That you'll come back. Sometimes I wonder if I should hate you, but I can't, because the truth is you're still the only place that feels like home. 5 years turned into 6. Then 7. Her mother grew ill, and Anna spent long nights by hospital beds, holding a frail hand and whispering the same prayer. Please, just let him come back before it's too late. But even God seemed to have stopped listening. When her mother passed, Anna buried more than a parent. She buried the last person who believed Daniel would return. And yet, that night, as she walked home alone through the rain, a faint smile found her lips, because even in grief, she whispered, he'd have held my umbrella. On the 10th anniversary, the day he left, Anna stood by that same window, now cracked with age and weather. The world outside had changed, but inside, time had frozen around a single promise. Then, a knock at the door. Her heart stopped, her breath caught. She ran to the door, trembling, disbelieving, and opened it. There was no one there, just an envelope, damp from the rain. On the front, 1 word, written in a handwriting she hadn't seen in a decade. Anna. The envelope felt heavier than paper should, as if 10 years of silence had weight, as if grief could be sealed, stamped, and sent back to her doorstep. Anna's hands trembled, her breath came shallow. She sat down at the small kitchen table, the same one where she'd once shared midnight laughter and burnt toast with him. The ink on the envelope had run just slightly, but the handwriting, she knew it by heart. Every curve, every impatient stroke. It was Daniel's. Inside, a single sheet of paper, folded twice, no return address, no date, just a letter. Anna, dear Anna, if you're reading this, It means I found the courage to face the past. I've written this letter 100 times in my head, each version ending differently, some with explanations, some with apologies, but none felt enough. I left because I was scared, not of loving you, but of losing you. You remember how my father was, how he left us when I was a boy. I thought I was cursed to do the same, so I did it first. The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. Her heart raced, a decade of unanswered questions unraveling line by line. Anna, I went abroad, took a job that turned into a trap. I thought I'd come back once I was someone worthy of you, but time to time has a cruel way of turning love into regret. And before I knew it, 10 years were gone. I saw your face once in a photograph a friend shared online. You looked happy, or maybe you were just pretending like me. I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know how. I didn't know if I had the right anymore. I don't expect forgiveness. I only hope you still see me in the quiet moments, the way I see you in every sunset. If you ever want to find me, come to the place where we first said goodbye. I'll be there every October 17th. Yours, always, Daniel. October 17th, that was tomorrow. She didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Her mind spun between disbelief and longing. 10 years of what-ifs screaming through every corner of her heart. By dawn, she'd made her choice. She packed a small bag, the same scarf, the old letters, a single photo of them at the pier. She didn't know if she was walking toward closure or toward him. The morning train to the coast was nearly empty. The same route they used to take back in college, when the world felt small and love felt endless. She sat by the window, watching the fog chase the fields, the reflection of her face overlapping with the moving world outside. Older now, lonelier, but still waiting. Soft music, piano and violin in harmony. A child laughed somewhere down the aisle, and for a second, it pulled her back to that day 10 years ago. Flashback. Daniel, you sure you'll be okay without me for a few months? Anna, as long as you write, and don't forget to come back. Daniel, forget you, never. The train pulled into the coastal town by evening, a place half forgotten, half remembered. Salt air, gulls crying, waves crashing against memory. She walked the old path down to the pier, each step echoing with ghosts. The sun was sinking, a red, aching goodbye. And then she saw him, at first, just a silhouette against the fading light. Broad shoulders, head slightly bowed. Familiar, unmistakable. Anna barely a whisper. Daniel, sound, waves, seagulls, faint gasp. He turned. The years were written on his face, lines of guilt, eyes full of storms, but it was him, her Daniel. Daniel. Anna. She didn't know whether to cry, scream, or run, so she did all three. She ran into his arms, 10 years collapsing into a single heartbeat. Sound, embrace, muffled sobs. For a long time, neither spoke. They just held on, as if letting go would make the past real again. Anna, why didn't you come back? Why didn't you write? Daniel, I tried. I wanted to, but every time I looked at your picture, I saw everything I'd taken from you. I thought I was protecting you from me, but all I did was disappear. The wind carried his words away, but she caught the sorrow in his eyes, a decade of regret reflected in the ocean between them. Anna, you broke me, Daniel. Daniel, I know. Anna, and yet I never stopped waiting. For a moment, the world seemed to forgive them. The sea went still, the sky burned with dying light. He reached for her hand, hesitant, afraid it might vanish, and she let him hold it. 10 years too late, but maybe not too late at all. They sat on the pier until the stars appeared. No promises this time. No forever. Just two people trying to remember how to breathe in the same rhythm again. Sometimes love doesn't end. It just waits, and sometimes waiting becomes its own kind of love. They stayed by the water until the stars blurred into dawn. No words left, just silence, the kind that speaks louder than confession. For Anna, it felt like waking from a long, cruel dream. He was here, alive, real, but beneath that fragile relief there was a shadow in Daniel's eyes, a hesitation. Something unspoken, sound, ocean breeze, wooden pier creaking. Anna softly, "What are you not telling me?" Pause, distant thunder in the background. Daniel, after a long breath, "There's a reason I didn't come sooner." Music fades to silence. Rain begins gently. Narrator, the storm that had been sleeping on the horizon finally broke. Raindrops fell like confessions neither of them wanted to make. He led her to the small cafe near the harbor, the same one they'd once gone to on rainy days. It hadn't changed. Same flickering sign, same chipped blue tables. Only they were older now, and time had taken more than youth. Sound, door chime, muffled rain, quiet jazz in the background. Daniel, "I didn't just leave, Anna. I ran." Anna, "From what?" Daniel, "From myself." He exhales, heavy, weighted. "I told you I went abroad to work. That was true at first. But I got mixed up in something I shouldn't have." Music deepens, attention builds softly. Narrator steady, low. Anna's heart tightened. The rain outside drummed faster, as if time itself was hurrying them toward truth. "Daniel, I was working for a company overseas. We were supposed to be building medical facilities, but it wasn't what it seemed. They were using the funds for something else, something illegal. Beat, when I found out, I tried to expose them, and that's when everything fell apart. They came after me, took everything, my passport, my name, my freedom." Anna whispers, "My God, Daniel." "Daniel, I thought if I reached out, they'd find you too, so I stayed gone. It was the only way I knew to keep you safe. I wanted to tell you every day, but every letter I wrote I burned, because what if someone saw it? What if you got hurt because of me?" Long pause. Only rain and faint thunder. Narrator, for a moment, the cafe disappeared. All that remained was the weight of 10 years, of love buried under fear. Anna looked at him, really looked. His hair was streaked with gray. His hands shook slightly as he held his coffee cup. He was still Daniel, but not the boy she remembered. Anna, voice trembling, "You should have trusted me. I would have waited even if it meant hiding with you." Daniel, quietly, "You did wait, longer than anyone ever should." Music softens, slow violin joins the piano. Narrator, she wanted to be angry, to scream, to cry, to tell him how cruel he'd been. But looking into his eyes, all she found was sorrow and something else. A flicker of pain, not guilt, not regret, something deeper, fear. Rain begins to fade. The storm is ending. Narrator, when they stepped back outside, the dawn was breaking, soft gold light spilling over the water. Daniel turned his face toward it, eyes closed, as if memorizing warmth. "Anna, what happens now?" Pause. Wind blows gently. Daniel whispered, "I don't know how much time I have left." Piano note lingers, silence. Anna stunned. What do you mean?" "Daniel, when I was overseas, there was an accident. A fire in one of the buildings. I got trapped trying to save someone. They pulled me out, but not before the smoke did its damage. My lungs, they never healed right. The doctors say it's getting worse, that maybe I've got a year, maybe less." It felt like the world tilted, the air thickened, her body went cold. 10 years waiting, and now, time was being stolen from her again. Anna, no, Daniel, you can't, you just came back. "Daniel, I didn't come back to say goodbye. I came back to give you the truth. So you could finally live." She wanted to hate him for it, but all she could do was reach for his hand and hold it as if holding could stop time itself. They spent the rest of the morning walking along the pier barefoot, laughing through tears. 10 years condensed into hours, and every second felt borrowed. "Anna, you still take your coffee too sweet." Daniel, some things never change, but underneath their laughter was something heavier, an understanding that every smile had a countdown. Over the next few weeks, Daniel stayed in town. He rented a small cottage near the sea, and every evening Anna would visit, sometimes with dinner, sometimes with silence. They rebuilt what they could, not through promises, but through presence, through quiet mornings, and the simple act of being near. One evening they sat watching the sunset. Daniel's head rested on her shoulder. She could feel his breathing, slower, weaker. Anna softly, "Do you ever wish you'd stayed?" Daniel, "Every day." Anna, "And now?" Daniel, "Now I just wish I'd told you sooner, so I could have had 10 more years of you." The words broke her, not in anger, but in love, because even as his body weakened, his heart was stronger than ever. She took his hand and whispered words she'd written 1,000 times in her letters, the words she'd never thought she'd say to his face again. "Anna, I forgive you. And I love you." Narrator, gentle, reflective, in that moment. Forgiveness wasn't about forgetting. It was about choosing to love again, even knowing how it would end. Narrator, the next morning, she found a note on her doorstep, written in the same shaky handwriting. "Anna, meet me at the lighthouse tomorrow at sunset. There's something I need to give you." She didn't know it yet, but that letter would change everything. Love is patient. Love endures. But sometimes love comes home only to say goodbye.